Hey there, hi there, ho there. My name is Travis. Welcome to Real Vegas Junkies, where we interview local business owners, influencers, or anybody in Vegas who has a message to get out. My name is Travis Flesher. This is Sticky Paws Studios, and today we have an interesting interview. We have Derrick from lvcaninetraining.com, and I wanted to kind of go in depth with kind of like some of the misconceptions that dog owners, potential dog owners, kind of like untrained dogs, and how we can really make our dogs happy, make our apartment goers happy, make our couches less destroyed, and make our, a safe place for the dogs to exist. Derrick, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, Las Vegas Junkies. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So shoot away. What questions do you have?
So, I mean, I grew up with dogs almost my entire life. I've had small dogs that piss everywhere. I've had big dogs that like pummel people when they walk into the door. And I had really awesomely trained dogs, like a German Shepherd. Her name was Siren, R.I.P. She was probably one of the best dogs because we put the time into her that she needed to really kind of give the love back. And so, I just wanted to start off saying, like, what are some of the biggest issues that current dog owners are not addressing, at all?
Setting boundaries is a big one. I think there's a lot of misconceptions with crates and how to properly use them and kennels and, just putting your dog on a proper schedule and setting those boundaries. I think a lot of owners fail their dogs in this area. And then, they let problems continue without addressing them. And then over time, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And then by the time, they do address it, it's really hard.
Yeah, it's really sad because a lot of people, at least in America, love to consider their dogs like a part of the family. Like you have your son, your daughter, and then your dog, right? So you think you would want to put as much time and effort as you do a child into a puppy or, a dog. And building those boundaries are very important because there's some people who are raising their kind of their puppies or their current dogs, and they think that positive reinforcement, which is if they do something good, you give them a treat, or negative reinforcement is if they eat off the counter, you boop their nose, and then they kind of they all get reactions. There's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to what you should do and what you shouldn't. And I think more recently we've with the rise of dogs that aren't trained, it's because people don't want to hurt their dogs, or they think that ASPCA, is going to come after them for being a little hard on them. So what are, for somebody who has a tormented dog or an untrained dog, what are some quick tips that you can give them to kind of immediately start showing the respect or building those boundaries?
Well, my biggest tip I can give to the audience is, definitely, look for a trainer in your area that has experience, that has proven experience. And when I mean proven experience, I mean, look at their history. Look what they have done with their own dogs. Look what they have done with other people's dogs. You want a trainer that has a high success rate and understands, the dog philosophy or the psychology, and knows how to train a dog, and can guide you in the proper direction. Because every dog is different. Not every dog has the same issues as this dog. Like you said, you had that. And we all experienced this where we have that once-in-a-lifetime dog that was just perfect. My dog was Rerun. I used to let him out the front door, and sometimes he would be gone for days, but he would always return home.
That's really sweet.
And that's why we named him Rerun, because he would just run the streets, and he would come back all the time, and he was just like that perfect dog, right? So one of the misconceptions is we tend to find ourselves chasing this perfect dog, and that's just not reality, Dogs need structure. Dogs need balance. Dogs need to understand, what's okay, what's not okay. And we have to teach these things to them. Honestly, it's not easy, and if you don't know what you're doing, then your best bet is to go hire someone.
Right. So, to kind of peer into my personal life a little bit, I recently moved out of my parents' place, and right before I moved out, we got 3 Belgian Malinois. And for those who don't know these dogs are kind of like bomb dogs, police dogs, are the next evolution from German Shepherds. And, they're extremely loyal, they're extremely trainable. But if they're untrained, they get their name Maligators for a reason, because they have really sharp teeth and they love to teeth on things. And if you don't kind of, nip it in the bud really early, they become menaces. And unfortunately,
I call them alligators for a different reason.
Oh, why is that?
Because when when the dog is biting the man on the suit, he's biting so hard, it's like a crocodile.
like it locks down and it can't open up again, right?
Well, I teach my dog out, so my dog will let you go. But, you know, in the sport, you know, you want your dog biting hard. And so that's why in my sport, at least, we call them like, hey, man, that dog biting like a gator.
A gator. And, you know, like, so I have a dog, her name is Calypso, and, you know, a Belgian Malinois. And she, like, you know, as a puppy, it was really cute how she would, like, you know, suckle on your arm, where it's not like, you know, biting hard. The teeth are sharp, but it's just kind of like they're just licking your arm with their whole mouth. But, you know, that went unaddressed until now. And now as soon as like somebody walks into the building, like she immediately goes for that attack point.
Right,
but it's like, for us, we're like, no, she's cool, she's fine. But like
it's not cool.
To the mailman, like that's, or like to the police officer, that's a gunshot away, right?
She breaks skin, that's a loss.
Exactly. So, you know, I'm feeling for my parents because, you know, they're older. You know, me and my brother moved out, so they don't really have the attention to detail that we could have given to our family dog, Siren, a German Shepherd. So are dogs, you know, that are a few years old like that, lost causes?
No, absolutely not. You know, a dog is never a lost cause. If you're willing to put the time, the effort, and the work into the dog, you could definitely see changes. But it takes work, and you have to know what you're doing. And if you don't, then your results are going to be slim to none.
So, like, you said, like, you got to find a trainer in your area, find somebody who has good experience. So obviously you're a trainer in our area.
Right.
So what sets you different from the other trainers, or what do you focus on that's a bit more niched out compared to some of the more generic trainers or even the specialized ones?
Well, it's really important for me to teach the dog. You know, I want to see that the dog is understanding what they're being asked to do. So I'm big on shaping behaviors. You know, I'm big on positive reinforcement. I would say the only thing that I'm doing differently is I'm giving the owners the knowledge and the information on how to, you know, do this themselves, you know, because it's really not hard. It's very simple to train your dog. Once you have the information and I show you how to do it, you're like, this is easy.
Yeah.
And then you're just consistent. And then before you know it, you have a trained dog before your eyes.
So, I mean, I've never used any formal training. With our German Shepherd, we went to the desert, showed her positive reinforcement. Any situation that we could have like used as a teaching moment, we would always kind of be there for them. What, you know, I would be concerned of if I were to give a dog to a trainer is like, won't they get like bonded to the trainer more, especially as a puppy and an adolescence, than the owner?
Not necessarily. You know, it's just like people, right?
Yeah.
You have different relationships with different people. Some relationships are better than others, right? So I would say if your dog has a better relationship with the trainer than with the owner, then what does that tell you? You know, that says a lot in itself. You know what I mean? It says, in my opinion, it says you haven't spent enough time with your dog, right? Because nobody is going to ever, my dog is never going to look to anybody else like the way they look to me because I spend the most time with them. You know, I say this often, you know, when I see homeless people with dogs. And I say homeless people make the best pet owners because they go through everything with the dog. They're constantly engaging with the dog. They're constantly spending time with the dog. They're constantly, you know, teaching the dog something or going through life with the dog. You know, so the stronger your bond and your relationship is with your dog, the more fun your dog is having with you, you know, that's a bond that can't be broken, you know. And then, you know, if your dog builds a healthy bond with another person, i.e. a trainer, you know, all the better.
So I know that there's a lot of dog foster people, like where they'll like take in like disenfranchised dogs or like they're homeless or like from the kennel, they'll just have like a home. Like, what are your thoughts on, I guess they're not like kennels, but like just a person who just
Rescues.
has like
Rescues.
5 or 6 dogs in one home, and they're not giving what's your opinion on that? Because as a trainer, you like
Ooh, this
there's
is
a bit
gonna ruffle some feathers.
interesting. I want to hear more about it because I can't imagine the foster parents, you know, with their good intentions, like it's probably not good for the environment for the pups. Like,
It's noble. It is very noble. But you're right. Is a lot of times it's not a good environment. You know, a lot of times, you know, it takes a lot of effort to care for a dog, to feed a dog, you know, to to train a dog, to properly groom a dog, to properly give one dog the attention that it needs and deserves is enough, right? So when one person takes on the challenge of trying to care for 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 dogs at a time, I mean, understandably, it becomes overwhelming. And, then you see dogs malnutrition, you see dogs dying. And it's not necessarily their fault. They're trying to correct a problem that is overwhelming in every city, not just Las Vegas or, in every city you see a lot of stray dogs, a lot of, homeless dogs or, a lot of dogs find themselves in this type of situation for various reasons. And ultimately it falls on us as a community, So, it's one of my goals to be able to correct this problem. And then it's just really about having the right people that have the right information and that are willing to put the work in.
What are your personal opinions on at-home breeders or people who take like a dog like a Belgian Malinois or a German Shepherd, purebreds? There's you can't in one way it's like
it's like you knew all the right questions, huh?
Well, I hope I can get something out of it,
Hey man, all right. So look, this is my personal opinion. All right. I'm going to give you this.
Nothing else.
All right, so I feel like what's the point of breeding a dog that hasn't accomplished anything, right? So, and I say this all the time. People come to me and I say, why spend a lot of money on a dog when people are giving away good dogs? There's a lot of good dogs out there that need a home. So, you just, like my friends come around me, I say, just hold off on buying a dog. Somebody's going to offer a dog to me that is an amazing dog that needs a home, and I'll give the dog to you as long as you take care of the dog, So a lot of my friends get amazing dogs. Like we have a dog, Rollo. It's an XL bully, beautiful dog. Got it for the low.
Yeah.
But and no fault to the breeders, you know what I mean? But I see this continuously happening in the breeding industry where, people get into the breeding industry with these expectations of making $1.
Right.
And you heard somebody sell a dog for $7,500. You heard somebody sold a dog for $25,000. But what's the likelihood of you selling a dog for $7,500 or $25,000 and you don't have that clientele, or you don't have access to that clientele? And unfortunately, a lot of people fall down that rabbit hole.
Right.
And a lot of good dogs end up dead because of it.
It's really sad, because every dog we've ever received, we've never paid for. It's more of like, oh no, I let the dog loose and then all of a sudden she's pregnant and she has, an entire litter. I got to get rid of the dogs. Hurry, please. So you're right. I feel like a lot of the best dogs that I've ever had aren't purchased, or they're rescued from, from the kennels themselves. So with your service, of any age, what's the optimal age to use your service? What's the second optimal, and what's a lost cause? Is there such a thing?
There's never a lost cause. I don't believe that any dog is a lost cause. I think every dog is trainable with the right, TLC,
And then with your program, how long should each of those tiers of dogs should be expected to go through your program? Should they have should they be boarded up? Not boarded up, but boarded so that they, you could be with them 24/7? Should it be you come to their house? How does it work if somebody wants to use your service?
It's dependent on the client. If you're the client that's busy and on the go and you're successful, and you don't really have the time to, put in the consistent work to train the dog, then absolutely you should hire a trainer. You should be looking for board and train services. Now, if you are the type of person where you have, some time on your hands, you have a few hours a day, you don't mind going through the training, then you should be looking for private lessons and learning how to work with your dog on your own, and then keeping up with the work, whatever homework your trainer gives you. And then you should, definitely be doing follow-up classes, getting involved with group classes, just getting as involved with your dog as much as possible. If your dog has activity that they like, a lot of dogs like sports. Why should your dog be limited to what they do? Because you're lazy.
And I think that's, I mean, like just, there's some people who have children who like, don't, pay attention or give them the love that they deserve. And I think it happens with dogs, cats, pretty much any animal. And I think it's like, to give like a weird statistic, it's like bunny rabbits during Easter are the most purchased animals. And then they're the most like, malnutritioned and then often returned.
Right,
So it's to the point where like PetSmart and all these places, like during these holidays, they like say no sales for these kind of animals. And I wonder if like there's no dog day to like go buy dogs or anything, like, but it'd be interesting if there was like some sort of limitation or like license to have a dog. Like, what is your like should someone be pre-educated or pre-qualified to be an owner of a pup?
No, I don't think so. I think when we have those guidelines in place in Vegas. I don't know if you're aware. But we do have, certain guidelines, like you're not allowed to own more than 3 dogs. You're supposed to get your dogs registered and licensed, and but the problem with this is that the state wants you to neuter the dog,
Right.
which is not good for the dog.
Like hormones and stuff like that.
Right. So this is not necessary. So this is the big conflict, that the community has with the state. The state wants to neuter the dogs off the dribble.
Right.
The community, which is understandable why the state wants to neuter the dogs off the dribble, right? And then the community, and for obvious reasons, there's health reasons involved why you shouldn't neuter a dog, And then there's also if you are competing with your dog, or you are making a name for your dog, and you are showing your dog, and you are upkeeping, and you are excelling the breed and the standard, then yes, those dogs shouldn't be neutered. Right. Those dogs should be protected, and their genes should go on. You know what I mean? And then, but there are some dogs should be neutered.
Right. Like I think the idea with the state is like, if they run away, or if they're like, they're not kept, close eye, like you don't want them reproducing and making dozens and dozens of dogs.
Well, you don't want irresponsible breeders. You don't want people breeding the dogs just because, I like these 2 dogs and I want to breed them. And then you have 10, 12 pups that need a home.
To kind of transition a little bit, before the show, we were talking about collars. And I've seen many different types of collars. I've seen like, and leashes is what I'm saying. So like I've seen, the ones that have the spikes that grab down onto
Pinch
the
collars.
neck.
Pinch
I've seen
collars.
the shock collars. I've seen, the vest that there is no collar. It's just like a vest that like harness. So like, what is your opinion as a trainer with some of these more aggressively?
I wouldn't use that word.
I mean, I'm coming from an ignorant perspective. They educate me, educate the audience.
Right. You wouldn't go to a mechanic shop and say, "Hey, this tool is aggressive. This wrench is aggressive."
Fair.
You wouldn't go to someone and say, "This nail gun is aggressive." You know what I mean? You wouldn't do that. So it's just a tool. It's just a tool, and your tool bag. That if you know how to use it, you know how to use it properly. It could get you great results. And then obviously with every tool, mistakes happen. Accidents happen. Some people try to self-educate themselves on tools, or some people have to self-educate them on tools for a lack of resources in their area. So, and in my opinion, any effort is better than no effort.
Okay, fair. So like, so they come to you, they might be doing their own research on like the types of collars. They have a big dog. They're like, I need to make sure this dog's in check. So like, I'm going to get like the biggest, strongest, baddest tool to keep him from doing it. And then you just see like the dog literally suffocating themselves because they're constantly.
Right. Because people, they don't necessarily understand how to properly use the tool. But, and which is why, I always advocate is go find yourself a trainer. Go find yourself someone who knows how to use the tool. And that could teach you how to use the tool. I promise you, it's not hard.
Yeah, lvk9training.com is where you would go and find someone like this man who can give your dog some good education, but more importantly, give you some good education. And I wanted to, keep going down the line of like tools, right? So dogs have many different purposes, right? Some specific breeds are good at running, sniffing, hunting, killing, or whatever you need it to do. What's your stance and kind of perspective on training dogs for personal defense? Like, they're not killers, but they could kill, kind of thing. Not for personal protection, not necessarily military or police. Like, do you advocate that? Do you train those kind of dogs? How do you approach it? Do you vet the owner?
I'll say this: every dog has the potential to attack you, whether it be under fear, whether it be just from a pure aggressive standpoint of a territorial perspective. Every dog has the potential to attack you. Training dogs for personal protection.
Would you say it's inherent for a dog to want to protect its owner? Like it'll always be that
Absolutely.
dog.
If a dog is a more dominant and he's not he's not a fearful dog, he's not really scared. It's a more confident type of dog. And if someone attacks you or challenges you, the dog absolutely. I say good 9 times out of 10 that dog is gonna try to defend his owner or defend himself. So that's natural. What I would say is that if you're going to get a dog, because we understand that is a natural response, you should invest into some training, right?
Yeah.
You should invest into knowing how to control a dog that's that way, and it just doesn't have to be a Belgian Malinois or a German Shepherd or a Rottweiler. It could be a poodle. A standard poodle is a great dog that will defend you. People sleep on that standard poodle.
Yeah. No ankles are safe around a poodle.
No, I'm not talking about that little small poodle.
Oh, you mean like...
I'm talking, there's a big poodle.
Big poodle.
with a little pretty haircut and everything that would get with you.
Right.
And, I definitely, and I don't think that there's nothing wrong with a dog that's willing to protect his owner, his family. A lot of people, that's a lot of a reason why a lot of people get a dog, to have that sense of security. I know for me as a kid, that was one of the big reasons why I wanted a dog, because I was tired of dogs chasing me down the street and stuff like that. Or, I was a little kid and I used to always be walking around the city and stuff. So, I didn't want nobody, trying to snatch me or something like that. I was like 10 years old walking around all over the city.
Yeah.
So, just having a dog there, it makes people think about it. Then they second guess it. You know what I mean? Just even having a dog in your yard will make just if the dog don't even necessarily have to bite anybody, just that the dog is willing to bark and engage with somebody.
An alert dog or
right, that is potentially going to break into your home. I think it's great.
And like dogs are really just like, they're unpredictable, which works in both ways, where if somebody's, coming to your home unauthorized, a dog, like the person doesn't know what the dog's capable of. It's not like they have a certification on their like on their face and stuff like that.
Right.
So
yeah, the dog is not going to negotiate with an intruder.
Like, are you a bad guy?
Yeah, you're not. The dog isn't going to negotiate. The dog is not. Oh, no, dog doesn't care. We're running short on time, but what I wanted to ask is like, so your dog training, focusing on the dogs, their demeanor, their kind of like the response, their training, their happiness. Do you have partners that you partner with, like dog groomers or any other facilities around, taking care of a dog? Like, do you have any recommendations? Like, they come to you, but who else should they go to immediately after? Just come to me. I'll point you in whatever direction you need to go in. I got you.
And I think so that's good to know. So if you wanted to go to lvk9training.com, meet Derrick. Derrick's going to get you in great hands. He's going to get you in touch with everybody you need, and more importantly, make sure your dog is in the best hands possible. The last question I'm going to end off this thing is like, for somebody who is neutral about dogs, what is the best breed or approach to finding a breed that is, that's a mix of good training, like easy to train, challenging, but also, can give the love back. You have the golden retrievers, they give so much love. You have the huskies that howl a lot, Shiba Inus who are, viral sensations. Like, do you have any advice for somebody who doesn't have a dog or wants to get a dog, and where should they start?
That's a good question, because I have two perspectives, right?
Okay.
For the person that wants to put in all the work of training the dog, and go through the entire process, then get a puppy. Get a puppy of whatever breed you like, find you a trainer, and then go through the work. It doesn't really matter the breed. Just get something that's suitable to your lifestyle. If you have a high energetic lifestyle, get a high energetic dog. If you're a really chill person, don't get a high energetic dog. Like, if you want to just chill around the house all day, get a lap dog. Get a Shih Tzu or you know, one of them little tiny chill dogs. You know, don't get a Belgian Malinois. Don't get a Dutch if you're not if you you know, the Dutch is for a person who wakes up 6:30 in the morning and goes on the 5-mile run. That's the person who gets a Dutch Shepherd.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's good advice. Like, you know, like I recently, my grandpa lost his wife recently, and we wanted to get him a good companion, and we kind of went through this. We're like, we don't want something that's like super energetic to kind of like, you know, pull the leash and he, you know, breaks a hip or something like that. So we got him a nice, I don't even know the breed, it's like a mutt, but it's a smaller dog, and all it does is just chill on his lap all day, just loves getting pet.
This is where your breeders come in handy. A good breeder should be able to tell you, based on your lifestyle, which dog. It doesn't even high energetic breeds like Dutch and Dutch Shepherds and Belgians. You still have your dogs out of that litter that may be on the lower end, and they may not be so energetic and high energy. And you know, you could still get yourself a Dutch or a Belgian. Just find yourself a good breeder who's going to be honest with you and is a reputable breeder and is going to give you what you're looking for. You should do a lot of research. You know, you should ask a lot of questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you should go and look at the dogs. And if he says like, yeah, this is a chill dog, you should go look at the dog. Make sure it's a chill dog before you even purchase it.
Right, you don't want to go in blind. It's
what
it's
a lot of
creature.
people do. A lot of people go in blind. These breeders are like, oh no, I'm just going to give you this dog, and this is the only one, and people just accept it.
Yeah. So, I think that's it for today. Derrick, where can people find your social media to see what's going on in your life? Can they, you know, find your services? Where are you based in Las Vegas? Give me those details.
I service the whole entire Las Vegas community from Henderson to Summerlin, Centennial, East Las Vegas. It doesn't matter. I'll service you. But I have a workshop located off of the cross streets of Lake Mead and Lamb.
Okay.
You know, so we do have a controlled space where you come in, work, you know, and get some work done. What were some of your other questions?
I'm not sure. Did we skip a few?
My social media.
Oh, okay.
You can find me. One of my more fun pages is Ban Me For What. It's a lot of my personal dogs, but if you're looking for more specific services, you can find me on LVK9.
LVK9. All right, Derrick, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Man, thank you for
having me.
I really appreciate
you guys.
Fun. That was fun for sure.
No. I mean, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing some of your partners and have them on the show as well, because I think there's a lot of miseducation around dogs, and I think with just a little bit of, you know, asking the right questions, you can have a lifelong pet that can, you know, live up to, you know, 12 to 20 years to really kind of serve you.
For sure.
Thank you guys for joining Real Vegas Junkies. We're in partnership with Real Vegas Magazine. My name is Travis Flesher, and I'll see you next time.